Thanks, Chairman Hawley, for holding this hearing. Thank you, Ms. Wynne Williams, for agreeing to testify, particularly under these circumstances. You join other whistleblowers, including Francis Haugen and Arturo Bejar, who have bravely come before Congress to detail how Meta, aka Facebook, one of the biggest companies in the world, consistently chooses profits and growth over people and safety. Meta chooses to target vulnerable teenagers to drive engagement and increase ad spending, knowing the risk it poses to teen mental health. Meta chooses to feed its users inflammatory content to drive engagement and increase ad spending, knowing the harm it can cause. Meta chooses to put human rights concerns aside if it means access to more users, more growth, more dollars. During the time frame that Ms. Wynne Williams documents in her book, I was pressing Facebook on its potential cooperation with the Chinese government. I was chair in this room of the Human Rights and Law Subcommittee, working with a staunch Republican conservative, the late Tom Coburn. We held hearings on the human rights implications of big tech operating in countries with repressive governments and sent interrogatories to Facebook on the issue. The company flatly declined to appear, claiming they had nothing to say on the issue. Here's what I said in the hearing room at the time, quote, "We asked Facebook to testify and they said, we have no business operations in China and for that matter in most of the countries of the world," end quote. In retrospect, these comments from Facebook were disingenuous at best. In one chapter, Ms. Wynne Williams describes a board meeting where the company discussed ways to head off regulation and change the narrative surrounding Facebook. She writes that the board, quote, "gets into conversation about what other companies or industries have navigated with similar challenges, where they have to change a narrative that says they're a danger to society, extracting large profits, pushing all the negative externalities onto society and not giving back. Guess what model they chose? Big tobacco." That analogy is apt. Like big tobacco decades ago, big tech tells us their products do no harm. Like big tobacco, big tech tells us they can be trusted. And like big tobacco, they fight to prevent any regulation that might make them pay for the cost that their products impose on society. We have seen it time and time again in Congress. Any effort to regulate big tech is met with millions of dollars in ad campaigns, lobbying, and other opposition. But Congress has fought this battle before, and we have won. Almost 40 years ago, I was a member of the House of Representatives. I introduced legislation to ban smoking on airplanes. The tobacco industry fought it tooth and nail. Once that smoking ban went into effect, it wasn't long before smoking was banned in restaurants and public places. That one little law finally turned the tide against smoking in America, and it ultimately saved millions of lives. Thanks to people like Ms. Wynne Williams, I believe we're at a similar tipping point with big tech. The word is out. The shine is off. We can all see the harm big tech has caused, from enabling the spread of CSAM and harming teen mental health to facilitating repression in places like China and Myanmar. Last Congress, the Senate Judiciary Committee, which I chaired, unanimously, and that's a big deal in this committee, reported 5 bills to regulate big tech and require online platforms to protect kids. This is no easy feat in these polarized times. One of these bills was Stop CSAM, which I introduced with Chairman Hawley, and we're reintroducing it very soon. We'll do what it takes to get this bill to the president's desk so he can sign it. But we can't stop here. As Ms. Wynne Williams makes clear in her books, companies like Meta won't do the right thing unless they're compelled to do it. That's why I'll also join with Chairman Hawley, Senator Graham, and others to introduce a bill to sunset Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. For nearly 30 years, Section 230 has shielded big tech from liability for the harms they cause. Only by removing that liability shield will big tech finally have to take the steps companies in all other industries have to take to protect their customers. Unless and until Congress imposes accountability on these companies, nothing will change. Children and society will continue to pay a price. I hope this hearing and Ms. Wynne Williams' testimony can once again shine a spotlight on the need to regulate big tech and build momentum. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.